I guess that sort of brings us to goals. You know,
Right.
like, what is your current goal right now? What's your focus in poker?
Back to back, dog.
You're going back to back purple jackets. Yeah, you're goddamn right you are.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Poker Central podcast. Once again, coming from our trusted home, the studio is back in play.
Yeah.
Very happy to be joined by Imsirovic. Brent Hanks is also here. See?
Oh, Remco.
You got that?
Oh, zing!
Yeah, right in there. Today on the show, touch on a few brief news topics. Obviously, Poker Masters, a big news topic. Ali Imsirovic, as we are taping this, made the final table last night of the PLO event, which is honestly kind of a
I don't know how to
joke.
play this game, dude.
Brent, first and foremost,
Yeah.
Ali is our backup guest on the show. We had high hopes for Drizzler to make it finally.
Ralph is really busy.
I mean, I've heard, but it's good that we got Ali as a backup guest.
I'm honored to be his backup,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Have you met Officer Drizzler?
Recently,
Private
yeah.
investigator.
Guy's a fucking animal.
He was doing it long before Detective Poppy Jojo Ingram. And now, ironically, the two have teamed up. Check this out, Remco. We have a new message from Officer Ralph Drizzler.
Yeah, so Drizzler couldn't make it on the show once again. We do have a voicemail from him, so let's play it now, and we'll get up to speed with what he's working on. Oh.
Yeah, Officer Ralph Drizzler here. Hey, guys, I gotta apologize. I'm not gonna be able to make it on the podcast again today. I got myself a major case with Joey Ingram, Jojo, I call him, also an investigator, more of a detective. We got a big case. Haven't located much yet, but Joey said something about one of the apostles, some sort of religious scandal. I'm on a religious adventure, again, looking for an apostle. Disciple Ingram, Detective Ingram is leading the case. Gentlemen, next week, I promise, I'm going to be on this podcast. My apologies. Tell the foreigner that I truly am sorry. God bless America.
Wow.
Tell the foreigner.
That's deep.
Yeah.
He's in deep.
Well, I mean, anytime religion is involved, it's serious.
It's true.
Apostles.
Yeah.
Very serious stuff.
And first, wait a minute. Is he confusing? Wow.
Well,
I guess we'll find out.
when we get him on the show,
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Yeah, I'm not really sure.
We do have Ali Imsirovic on the show here.
Yes.
We have a lot to talk to you about, but we have also three little things here that were coming up in the news recently. Daniel Negreanu winning POI, obviously huge accomplishment. The third time he's taken it down. He's the only player ever to win it more than once. Following along with such a run that he's been on, do you sort of applaud him for going after it so hard, or are you thinking like, man, is it really worth it? There's no real prize there?
Yeah, there's obviously no real prize, but definitely applaud him. He's so good for the game. He's always trying to promote it. Third time, that's obviously incredible. I don't play in a mixed game, so I have no clue exactly how hard it is to do that. But yeah, Negreanu's the fucking man.
Would you ever care to chase something like POI?
I would care if I had a good shot at the end. Otherwise, I wouldn't really pay attention. If I was just playing events and I did well beforehand, then I would be like, all right, let's go for this because it's kind of cool to do. But no real prize. Doesn't really mean all that much anymore, it seems like. So I wouldn't care unless I was really deep.
I guess that sort of brings us to goals.
Right.
What is your current goal right now? What's your focus in poker?
Back to back, dog.
You're going back to back purple jackets. Yeah, you're goddamn right you are.
Yeah,
you're goddamn right you are. But down the road, would winning, having a banner inside the Rio, is that something that you want to strive for? Will you play mixed games? Is that something you want to hit the lab and start studying?
Maybe if there's a decent opportunity to play big mixed games, I'll try to learn for sure. It would be cool to have a banner, just cause my family would love it, friends from home would love it and stuff. I'm not all that interested in it because it doesn't feel all that prestigious to me. It's you did well in mixed games mostly is what it means, or in big field no limit hold tournaments that are just low buy-in that are kind of soft. So it doesn't mean as much to me. Something like Poker Masters means way more because you're playing against the best every tournament.
So can you give some perspective on how much it is worth your time to keep studying and grinding and playing against the best of the best of the best at the highest buy-ins versus perhaps choosing to learn a game where the edges might be bigger if you put your heart and soul into it, but there might not be enough money to make because the buy-ins aren't big enough? Like, how do you sort of approach that?
Yeah, I guess the important thing here would be your hourly when you're playing. So even if an edge is big, if my average buy-in's like 1,500,
right?
Like you're just not gonna make it that much per hour. While if you're playing like a 25K or 50K, even if you only have like 5 to 10% ROI, your average buy-in's like 65, 70K. You have like 5 to 10% ROI. You're making 5K per tournament. Right. That's like way more than you're gonna make playing like lower stakes for sure.
Yeah.
How much time do you spend studying in the lab, solving?
It varies. So this last month, I've just been playing a bunch online. I'm like studying while playing, but there's been really big stuff online that I've just been doing nothing but playing basically. But like when there aren't as big of stuff going on online, I probably spend like 3 to 4 hours a day at least, like studying, just like running sims or doing whatever.
Sick.
So when you say running sims, and I hear players say this a lot, does that really mean that you pick a situation that you're interested in and then you remember what to do? Is it like a memorization tool, or are you more so looking for I don't know, certain spots and trying to like adjust your ranges?
So I guess when I'm playing like online, especially like I just have a hand that I'm not sure about. I run in like I'm looking for this specific spot. But when I'm just literally doing nothing but studying, the way I do is I just have a bunch of sims ready. I just look through all of them and like just like kind of see patterns, like try to figure out like what I'm doing wrong, and just like see similarities in the sims to like figure out like. I mean, because memorizing everything is like impossible.
Right.
So just like trying to figure out like what our common occurrences, like what our common hands to do, whatever. That's like the main thing I'm looking at.
What's the last what you knew was going to be or was a major mistake that you had in a tournament that probably cost you money? Can you recall that?
I was playing at 25K online. I thought I had ace 10, and I had 10-4 because I was on no sleep, and I 3-bet shoved.
But that's just a mistake.
Yeah. I lost.
Yeah. But how about, did you ever have a decision, and I'm actually thinking of a specific hand. You and Kerry heads up for the 250K super high roller bowl in London. I believe you flopped top pair with King Jack, or maybe it was Queen Jack. And it was a 3-club board, and Kerry ripped all in. You had top pair, and you tanked. Now, he ended up just having the naked ace of clubs.
Yeah.
You remember that hand,
yeah,
right?
he opened like off 17 or 18 bigs in the cut.
Yeah.
I was a small Queen Jack suited. I would shove, but Vogelsting had like 50 big blinds in the bigs. So I couldn't do anything. So I just flatted. And it comes, like Jack 9. I don't remember. Jack 9 something, and all spades.
All clubs, or all spades,
yeah. I have Queen Jack of diamonds. I check. And he just like rips for like almost 2x pot, I guess. Or like about 2x pot. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, it was big size. Yeah, that's like an ugly spot because like Kerry's got to be so tight pre-flop there. I'm not exactly sure how tight he is because I've seen him open some ridiculous hands recently on streams, which like I was watching a 250K stream from Rosadov. He was opening like 40 suited under the gun. I was like, I fucked up. But but like usually the case is gonna be he's gonna have like ace of spades on a high card,
Yeah.
or an overpair.
And you're just flipping.
Yeah, I'm either like flipping or like I'm just dead.
Yeah.
And so like with the price, I just wasn't good enough for what I thought his range was. So
I don't mean to stir it up and point that hand out as like a mistake by any means, but is there any hand specifically that was an example that sticks out in your mind and you're like, fuck, man, if I had made the right decision here, that I would have won this much more money or perhaps a bracelet or anything else?
Let's see.
I love when people are tortured and they have to think about
why
you can't
all the
sleep
bad
at
stuff?
night.
No, I make mistakes all the time, for sure. I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's, like, a recent one where I was just, like, real mad at myself.
It's a really good sign that it takes you this long to think of something stupid.
Like, I have a notebook, multiple notebooks.
I do so many dumb things every day when I'm playing, for sure. I just, like... usually it's not like massive mistakes though. At least I don't think they're massive mistakes. I was playing short deck with Jason Kuhn yesterday. That was a mistake.
Oh yeah, he's the best,
Dario,
right?
or
online actually.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't lose very much, but I was like, I probably shouldn't have done that.
'Cause he's really, really good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when you play high rollers all the time and you see the same faces all the time, how much of your study and preparation is player specific? Where you're trying to uncover something from X, Y, or Z player with regards to watching streams or studying their own specific patterns to gain an edge just on that one player?
Yeah, so recently online there have been a bunch of 25Ks like every day, and it's a lot of the guys I play with live. So it's easier to like get more info like that. So I've had like bigger sample size to like study these guys, and plus like there's like so many streams like every other day, and I watch like the majority of those. So probably like a third of my like study work is like based on like player tendencies, just looking at exactly what they do, how they do it, or whatever. Yeah, I would say a third.
Speaking of studying and some players you're familiar with, I want to go back to, again, that final table, that tournament. From your perspective, from a theory perspective, the hand between Steven Chidwick and Christoph Vogelsang, the tractor, you're going to remember this hand where basically Chidwick just went bananas.
400,000?
Oh, the check raise.
Come on. This guy isn't real. None of this is real.
This is absurd.
He has the ace of diamonds in his hand. This just doesn't make sense. He's representing perhaps the jack-high flush here in this spot. Vogelsang now curious. Chidwick, from a theory perspective, is this just basically GTO combat via one-on-one, or is Chidwick in the streets?
No, that was hood as fuck, dude. Like that is definitely not the play. Like in theory, he's supposed to full turn. Like, the fact that he called turn is like incredible. And then River having deuce of diamonds is not really like a blocker, because like what deuce X of diamonds is, like literally like has no good removal. He just fucking went full hood.
Oh my god! Yeah, see that hand, man. It's just I can't let it go.
Is that hand sort of the evidence that live tells are still a thing, or is that gut read? Like, because to me, when I was watching that unfold, like there has to be something there that he knows or thinks that he knows that applies in this spot, because. You know, for someone on my level, I have no fucking clue. I'm lost. I'm just watching this thing like, holy shit.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much live read stuff he does. He definitely has like some good feel. I haven't talked enough to know fully or anything, but I would assume he just played enough with Vogel and just has like. I would say he just like had a good feel on the river that Vogel was like either going for thin value or light, and he just went for it. Wow. I mean, that's the only thing that I could think of that happened.
Who, in your opinion, right now is the best overall tournament player in the world?
There are a few guys I have in mind. Stevie's up there. I'm not sure he's number one though. I think he's really good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Give us three. He can be safe now. You don't have to.
I think Jake Schindler is one of the best. I mean, I'm good friends with him, so it's like I'm biased for sure. And Timothy Adams, I think, is pretty up there.
Tim Adams. That's a new one I haven't heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
He's everywhere except for in the U.S.
I think he's flown way under the radar. I play a bunch of him online, and he's just putting in so many. I'm just like, yo, fuck this guy. He's too good. Yeah, I think he's incredible. I don't know. I've only played like 1,000 hands, maybe lifetime with him, so I don't know that much. But yeah, I think he's really good as well.
Where do you put yourself on that scale?
I think somewhere like top 10 to 15. I don't think I'm like elite yet, but I think I'm like doing well enough to where I'm winning in like the tournaments I play.
Let's tie this back into last year's Poker Masters. Where do you think you stood back then? Because obviously that was a massive rush. That was your breakout moment. Everyone got to know you, got to see you play on stream a whole bunch, and you were telling me after the fact, like, look, I might have to change my game a little bit because people now know the type of stuff that I do. But compare that moment to this moment. Like, do you think you've moved up the ranks? Do you think you've just worked really hard to stay where you are? Like, how do you compare yourself to a year ago? Yeah,
I mean, I've definitely moved up the ranks. A year ago, I was doing a lot of very exploitative stuff that was only going to work for a short period versus these guys I'm playing, right? Like, I just thought it would be effective at the time because they didn't know all that much about me. But you can't really just be like going full exploit against guys who are like super smart and like really good at the game. So at the time, stuff worked, but that would never work now, for example. So I had to like spend more time focusing on theory work and stuff. So yeah, I think a year ago I probably wasn't even like top 30 or whatever. I think I've gotten a lot better since then, and I would assume top 10 to 15, but like who knows, you know?
You said Jake Schindler right away, and of course you guys are good friends, but why? Why is he the best, in your opinion?
I have a few answers for that. I'm just trying to see how much I should give away, basically.
Okay. Yeah. Don't put him in a weird spot.
Yeah,
I know he's studying.
Well, his good looks
nonstop.
obviously help, but
that's strong.
That's number one.
Yeah, I mean, he studies a lot.
Okay.
He has some of the best live tells I've ever seen. He's probably the best at final tables out of anybody that I know. and a few other things, but that's
right. Okay, without revealing too many of the Jake the Snake secrets. So that's interesting.
Does that mean that you mentioned live tells? Does that mean that you have like the Ollie Black Book where every Twitch is recorded and then you're looking for confirmation? Like, are you actively like keeping a track or keeping an eye on those things?
Yeah, that's like a big part of my game. I think a lot of people don't do that much, and I think it just works so much. Like a bunch of spots, you're making like, I don't know, 2 or 3% of the pot or whatever, and you can go from like a 60-40 call. And if you have a library, you can go like 90-10. You know, like it's just like a huge like difference to where you're making way more just because like you pick up like a little bit. It's wrong sometimes, obviously, so it's not like that drastic, but like it's a pretty significant edge, I think.
Brent and I haven't had many smart people on this podcast because it's been me and him for the most part. So a topic that came up a few weeks ago was about players using the clock as a randomizer and looking at it in spots where they are, trying to balance their range. Is that something you do? And do you think there's validity to doing that because in your brain it's hard to do something half the time?
There are different ways to randomize. Like I don't use the clock. I use my chips to do it. I don't know if I'm sure you've seen it. I'm always like shuffling my chips and I look at them and then I make a decision. That's how I randomize based on where the chip is pointed. Is the way I do it.
That's interesting. Do a lot of players essentially have their own sort of randomizing tactic at the table that maybe we just haven't really picked up on?
Like Ben Tollerine has his chips organized like 4 in a row, and then like they're all like one's facing this way, one's this way, one this way, one this way. And like I'm not sure like how he chooses which one to look at, but basically that's how he randomizes. Some people use the chip thing, some people use the clock, their watch, whatever. It's definitely necessary in these things, I think. Unless you just have like the incredible live reads the whole time, and you can just be like, I think this guy has this type of stuff, so I can just do this always and this. But most of the time you're very unsure, like, because people are tough, they're like balanced, right? So you're like, this hand's probably supposed to call sometimes, and then you just like, all right, I'll call like a third of the time, and then you just randomize and do it.
It's so fascinating because so much goes into playing poker at the highest level. Do you think that for the audience watching, who obviously, aren't going to be 10K crushers for the most part, do you think they have to worry about that sort of stuff when you play 1, 2, 2, 5? And what advice would you give them to, gain an edge without, having to run the sims?
Yeah, I would advise against ever doing that if you're playing like 1, 2, 2, 5, or even like up to 10, 20 or whatever, like, or like playing even like 5Ks and lower, like live. You just don't need to do that. Usually, like, I think the most important thing of those is just player tendencies, and like a lot of like people are swayed in one direction or the other, like very heavily in those things. So just like I would focus on that. I wouldn't be worried about randomizing shit.
As far as your personal adjustments go, is it really a big mindset switch when you go from grinding a week-long Poker Masters against the toughest fields to then mixing it up with like, a WSOP type field where you're going to play against a lot more people that, aren't going to be on that level?
It's I play way different. Like if I'm playing like a tough like 25K, 50K, I'm taking my time, like looking through every decision. When I'm playing a live 1K, I'm playing so fast, just like drinking, having fun, whatever. I'm definitely not like trying as hard, but like when I am trying like really hard in those, I try to play faster, and like people give away more live stuff. I just look at player tendencies. It's like it feels like I'm like thinking less for sure. Not like bring those tournaments down because like there's still like a lot you have to think about, of course, but. Those I just like a much simpler game. I'm not randomizing, and it's usually not that hard to adjust because like you kind of expect what's about to happen. I've played enough like between like small turn to a big turn to like I'm pretty comfortable just adjusting pretty fast.
Do you think you're making mistakes by not taking those events too seriously? Because obviously it's going to be a huge ROI. I know the buy-ins are small, but you're going to have chances as well to win, $500K to $1 million in those kind of events.
I definitely don't take them as serious as I should. I just like I spend a lot of my time studying or playing like big online or big live. That like when I'm playing smaller, I just like it's like relaxing. It's like nice to like just have fun while playing poker a little bit.
I also think too, to that point, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of those events, let's use the World Series for an example. They're multiple days.
Right.
Once you get deep enough, it's like, okay, shit, now I'm very serious about this event.
Yeah.
I'm on day 3. I have a shot to win a pile of money, and your sort of your mental state changes. But like day 1, maybe a little bit of day 2, it's pretty laxed. You can have some cocktails, have fun with your table. You're not really in the tank, beating the shit out of your brain.
Yeah, exactly. And like plus like I've been like in poker like enough and to like and like my name's like out there enough to where like I kind of want to be someone that's like good for the game in some way. So like I try to like talk to people and like have fun while playing these like smaller events, and like yeah, I mean, there's no like immediate like ROI in that, but like I think it's just good for the game and it's like a fun time for me as well.
It's nice when folks see you punt.
Oh,
Right?
yeah, for
You're in a
sure.
1K and I'm at your table. It's like, oh man, he's human just like me. I think there is really something to be said about that. Faraz Jaka, back in the day, you're familiar with Faraz Jaka. He used to say you have to give action sort of to get action, and he would do it so well in live tournaments. He would just do ridiculous shit when you're really deep early on, level 1, level 2, turning over nonsense hands, and that was all for a reason.
Yeah.
Set the whole thing up down the road. It was brilliant.
It is really fascinating to see the changing of the gears depending on the fields, the table, even table to table. It could be a completely different game. What I'm curious about also is last year during the Poker Masters, your parents came out. You had more family here. You had friends here as well supporting you, and it was so cool seeing how proud they were of you and how they were really sort of enjoying the moment with you.
Yep.
How has it been now, basically looking back on the entire year after? Because I can only imagine that things have changed a bit for you now that you're more of an established name in the game.
Yeah, like my family still basically just wants to come out to every final table.
Oh, really?
Like
Cool.
Last night my sister was like trying to call out of work to like show up. I was like, yo, I'm probably not gonna win this. I don't know how to play this game. Like, just don't show up for like a 10K PLO. Like, it's like a 20K limit. Sure, you can show, but like, just like don't do this. But yeah, like my family just like super supportive. Just like constantly like texting me or calling me whenever I'm deep with something and just like wishing me luck or like whatever. Same with friends. I guess like during Poker Masters last year, they were just like, it was a drastic change to what normally happens. So like people were just like losing their mind. Now it's like more of a common occurrence where like they just see
You're
me.
at a final table like every other week,
Nah.
right? I mean, it's ridiculous.
I haven't played live poker in like 2 months.
I was so surprised when you were not at King's Casino. I just expected you see you there at multiple final
Yeah,
tables.
I was planning on going, but there was big stuff online.
Yeah.
Plus, Ross was up.
Oh yeah.
So
Right,
like,
right, yeah. Well, do your mom and dad? Be honest here. Do they still have dreams of you becoming something else, or are they fully on board and saying, "Son, we love you. This is what you want to do. We're proud of you." Or they think maybe down the road, let's finish that. What was your degree?
I'm a semester away from graduating.
Yes, that's
with
right.
a criminal justice degree.
Criminal justice.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've told them I'm never getting that degree already, like multiple times, because I'm just not interested in that anyway. So if I went back to school, it wouldn't be for that. But yeah, like basically, they have said multiple times, you're just like, oh, you're not gonna be doing this forever, or yada yada, or whatever. Or like when I'm playing really big, like they get really nervous. It's like, oh, you don't have to do this. You can just make your like 15, 20K a month or whatever. I'm just like, I don't want to do that. Like I'm trying to like go to the top. So like, they get really nervous and like worried and stuff. But yeah, they just like support me. Like they never like tell me to like go do anything else.
Right.
They're just like
little subtle jabs.
They said stuff like like in like 5 years, are you still gonna be playing poker? Yada yada. I probably will. I don't know, but like we'll figure it out at that point. But they never like push me to like do anything else.
I wonder. That still happens, by the way, Remco. I get it from my parents all the time. Still.
When are you going to get a real job, Brent? When are you going to get a real job?
It's are you going to get out of poker?
Right.
Have you thought about maybe being an administrator, going back to school,
right,
in education? But I think that just happens. I think that's a continual conversation. Maria Ho, I'm sure, probably still gets it from her family.
For sure.
When are you going to get a real job? It's sort of bothersome because this is a real job.
For sure.
To an extent. It's just the fact that it's so drastically different than anything that our parents and the older generations have seen. They sort of view it as, okay, you're just a high-stakes gambler. And it's not a real job, but there's so much more to that.
For sure.
As we know.
100%. One of the things that you remind me of sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong if this is a terrible analogy, but you remind me of like a young Bryn Kenny, where like you're chasing the top of the mountain and you're not going to stop until you get there, and whatever the bumps are along the way, you're going to get back up and try to chase for, whatever the number one spot in your head means, whether that means having 10 million in the bank, whether that means being number one on some leaderboards.
Right.
Do you see yourself in Bryn and how he approaches things? Obviously, playing style is probably a bit different, but do you recognize any of that?
Yeah, it's actually funny. Bryn has said that same thing to me multiple times. He said the exact same thing. He was like, I see a lot of me in you when I was younger. Yeah, I kind of do. I definitely don't have the same swings that Bryn Kenny had going up, but yeah, like I've never like cared about like how much money I've had. Basically, like I grew up like super poor and just was always fine. I didn't mind. And like whether I have like whatever amount, like a lot or a little. It doesn't matter to me as long as I can just keep living the same life and keep playing the same tournaments or whatever. And yeah, like my goals are just always like driven towards being the best or like being the best I can be. I think Bryn was kind of the same way, where like he just like he always like talked about being number one in all-time money leader, even when he was like 30 million like behind. Like I remember last year he told me, he was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna be number one suit." I was like, "Oh, you're gonna be grinding?" He's like, "No, I'm just gonna be number one." Just like, all right, dude. And then I didn't really buy it at the time, but pretty sick.
But like, do you have like a threshold in mind of like a certain amount where you will slow down when you get to a certain point, or a certain amount of titles? Because obviously, training hard, studying hard, and playing hard only works if you're motivated for some kind of thing or something. Like, do you have a threshold in mind?
I don't have a threshold. Like, having X amount of titles or whatever, there's like nothing like that. It's just like as long as I like playing poker and I enjoy playing poker, it's my job. Why would I not work hard at it? You know, like it's like a incredible job. I have all the freedom I want. If I want to like slow down and take like a month or two off, I can do that, no problem. And like while I'm doing it and playing, I want to be the best I can be and just work as hard as I can.
How much in live earnings do you have right now? I'm looking at your hand up. I'm curious if you even know.
7?
Yeah, it's pretty close. 7.2.
Not bad.
You're a few million away from the top 100 all time. This would have clearly put you in the top 50 only a few years ago, which is kind of funny to me as well, because Bryn, of course, was at your place not too long ago.
Right.
Like his last 3 years have been insane.
Yeah.
Is that something where you're thinking like the next time there's $1 million tournament, I don't care who I need to talk to or bribe or become friends with, I'm going to be in that tournament?
I almost played the one in London actually. I was gonna be Orpin's guy, but he needed to sell as well.
Oh, Orpy Jr.
Yeah. And but like he was having trouble selling it, and the guys that I was selling to didn't really know anything about him, so they didn't want the action, so I couldn't play.
Right.
But yeah, I'm playing the million at the World Series next year for sure. Whatever next million is, I'm gonna play.
Right. Where the hell is Orpin? He said he was playing all these events. I haven't
No,
seen him yet.
he's showing up for the 25Ks and higher.
That's it? He's not playing anything else?
Yeah.
Oh, great. What a waste of a pick that was.
But it is an interesting sort of conundrum, because the Triton event obviously had this invitational style tournament where it was a businessman linked up with a poker pro.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a good format for that type of stakes, or do you think that an open pool like what One Drop does in the US during the World Series of Poker, do you like that better?
I definitely like how they do it for One Drop better, but I think this was like really good for what was happening. Like basically, how many people did I get? 40 entries or something crazy?
Yeah, probably something
Yeah,
like that.
you're just never gonna see that in like a normal million. Like they basically just did a lot of work for it. They made sure they got a lot of players. Like I'm not sure what's the best way to do it. I don't like the politics and stuff, obviously, but like, I mean, it works. So
I mean,
don't
correct
know.
me if I'm wrong. Both of you chime in, but I think it's a brilliant tactic that Triton employed. Frankly, you give the recreational players, the business players, the free pass. Like, hey, listen, you guys can play. You choose your pro. It's going to be an even split, even playing field based on this group and this group. I think if the $1 million buy-in did it at the World Series of Poker, they should follow the exact same model. And you want to fill that thing up? Let the recreational players invite the pros.
And they segregated the playing field for the first, what was it, 6 hours?
Yeah.
It's pretty smart. It's pretty clever.
Really smart.
Yeah.
I think it's harder and harder for recreational players to stand up and be like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking compete against these guys.
Exactly.
This game has changed so much, and you hear it, you see it. How many players have we lost from sort of the super high roller streets who are no longer showing up to compete in these events? Because why? Players are too fucking good, man.
You talk about recreational players.
But yeah, recreational players.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, there's been like new ones that come in, right? But yeah, I guess the Triton recreational players.
They do much better, right? They've got sort of the Chinese scene that's going on over there.
But like at the same time, like how long can that last if it was done the normal way? You know, so that was probably really sharp by them.
Do you think that short deck is something that you need to start playing because edges get smaller in No Limit?
Not because of that. Just because like if I want to go to these Triton events, half the events are short deck. And from what I've seen and heard, there's like decent amount of value in them still. Games like it's infancy. People are just nobody knows what they're doing. I've been studying it a little bit, trying to learn, but I'm still really bad.
All on your own, or have you downloaded some courses? Have you did you buy the recent one that was released by Kane Callis?
Yeah, I bought that.
Yeah.
I've gone through a little bit of that. Just like done some work on myself, but I've watched some streams and I'll just be sitting there like that can't be right, but I don't know anything. So like if I can say that about a game I know nothing about, it's probably pretty soft. So
Open season.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. A few more quick things before we let you go, because obviously you have a final table to play today. You mentioned before we started recording that you had no clue about Omaha, and then I joked with you saying, well, if you have no clue, then no one can read you because they have no clue what you're even thinking. What's it like to just jump into a 10K PLO event and you're saying no clue. I think you're still better than most players. And then you mentioned also sitting next to Jord Van Hoof, and you were asking him questions along the way in a high-stakes event, and he was giving you advice and like helping you out. What's that like for you?
I love it. So like just like learning new games like so much fun. That was like the best time of my life when I was playing. When I was just learning No Limit Hold'em because I was just like learning new things all the time. So if I can just like play a game that like I find a lot of fun, I can gamble on, and if I can like learn new stuff like literally every hand. I'm just like playing like when I was you probably see this on stream today. I'll just like look at my hand and take like 20 seconds because I'm not sure what to do, and I'll just like fold it or whatever. I like literally have no clue, but like it's fascinating because then I can just like ask people and I look into it. I was like texting people questions like the whole tournament. Like I was just like, oh, I had this hand, I folded. Is this good? They're just like, no, just like at one point in the tournament, I played a hand where I showed it right after to the table. I was like, oh yeah, should I have done this instead? And like no, two guys I asked, I just got to the table. They just wouldn't tell me. I was like, fuck you guys, I'm not playing PLO anymore. But yeah, for the most part, it was a great time. Like everybody was like super helpful.
So does that mean we're gonna see you in the Big Bet Mix and play some mixed games and stuff?
I'm not playing 8 game because I don't even know all 8 games.
Just
like,
play one of the 8. That's what I did.
No, like I mean, I don't even know what the 8 games are. That's what I'm saying. Like I think it's horse.
Little Raz.
Raz is in
yeah,
there.
some stud 8.
Okay, so
yeah.
But
7 triple draw.
That's the one. Yeah, triple draws in there.
Triple draw, single up, PLO, No Limit Hold'em, and the horse game.
Okay, yeah.
You'll be fine. I can give you a crash course.
I might
all
play
of
Big
those.
Man Mix if I learn how to play Deuces 7 single draw like at all. Cause I barely know the rules to that game.
So a funny thing, and this Jorid last summer was there for the World Series of Poker, and the same thing. He was like, I've never played No Limit Deuce 7, and I think he read a few articles and started playing, and he cashed, and he thought it was the most fun he's ever had playing poker. Learning a new game on the fly in a World Series bracelet event.
I love that.
He almost made the final table. All right, well, we're not going to keep you any longer. You need to get to the table and start playing this final table. It was a pleasure to have you on here with the show, and good luck defending your jacket.
I'm getting the jacket, man.
The pursuit of purple continues. My God, where is your jacket? Where's last year's jacket?
That's what I'm wondering.
It's not here yet?
I haven't been given anything.
Don't leave because we need to go find out if your jacket is
I need it for the final table, man.
We have to have that jacket.
That would be incredible.
He doesn't have his 2018 jacket.
Is that your responsibility?
Well, it was a group of us, but it fell on his lap. It fell on the whoever they are that made the jacket.
Right.
It fell on their end. No jacket. Measurements. It was a long time getting your measurements.
I fucking paid taxes on that shit.
And you already paid taxes on a jacket you don't have.
Incredible stuff.
Amazing.
All right, thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back in a second. We got some really exciting stuff coming up because we got a lot of emails from the fans, so we got to get through those.
Oh, I love this. Let's get down to the fans.
All right, we are back. We're going to dive into some of these emails from the fans. Also, I've been giving out a lot of studio tours, Brent.
Yeah, you're a big-time tour leader
I'm
now.
a tour guide.
Yeah.
All I need is a little flag to show people around properly.
Right.
But it's been truly incredible the amount of attention people are paying to our events, and then coming into the studio, and they sort of like are a little bit careful in the beginning, and then they wander into the studio, and then it's like, Remco? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oh, love the podcast, or big poker fan. I'm like, well, the Grand Tour, it's time. I'm showing you around. So if you ever are in Vegas, in the studio, if the door's unlocked, make sure to walk in, give us a shout, and we'll happily give you the tour. But yeah, Carl yesterday was
Carl Davis, I believe, came in.
Yep.
He's been looking for a tour. What a perfect time to take a tour, too, during Poker Masters. The top players in the field.
He showed up, and a huge poker fan from New Jersey, very thick accent. I couldn't quite place it. Will O'Connor was saying, like, where in Jersey is he from? Usually you can tell by the accent. I couldn't really tell. I'm not from that area. But still, Carl, thanks so much for stopping by the studio. And I think he might take your job, actually, because he looked pretty good in the jacket.
Yeah, what the hell? He stole my jacket, huh?
He stole your jacket.
Wasn't that in the triangle room?
Yeah, I gave him the big tour.
Would you show him the stalls as well in the bathroom?
I showed him the bathroom.
Every single pisser.
Exactly.
Wow.
I showed him where to grab the drinks, so it was all good.
Beautiful.
And then also, Jeff was in town.
Oh, this guy's my favorite.
He was calling me out for being a foreigner.
Yeah, you're the foreigner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, I know you're watching and listening to this. That really cracked me up. I texted to Brent, who also had a good laugh.
That's incredible.
He was here for some accounting conference, and honestly, I of course have no fucking clue what any of those abbreviations mean. So then he said, "Well, obviously you don't know because you are the foreigner," and I'll take that with pride. I like that one. Richard also came in. He tweeted a photo, just did a selfie at the studio. He was also
That's
in
Richard
town.
O'Donnell.
O'Donnell, yeah.
Okay.
A big fan of his as well. Huge passion for the game, which I really, really love. And I think it's just so cool that we get to interact with you guys on the set inside the studio. So honestly, shout out to you, Richard, as well. And then, Brent, let's get to these emails because we picked our 3 favorite ones here. And Tom, also from New Jersey, I guess we have a lot of Jersey fans, he just fucking watches everything.
And just because we only picked out 3 doesn't mean we won't get to all of them. We will get to all of them. We can only do 3 at a time, really.
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brent, you want to go through this email?
All right, so Tom from New Jersey says, and of course he sent along this wonderful photo.
Right.
And his email says, "What's up, guys? Just sitting here watching 50, 100, 100 live at the bike while I'm playing 5 cent, 10 cent online." All right, that's replicated.
Right.
Brent, love the commentary of the Phil Ivey misclick and the 250K. The expression on Ivey was priceless. Also, not sure if you saw, but Berkey had a cool interview on the Chasing Poker Greatness podcast. I didn't see that. He mentioned you helping him out as he was coming up. That is true. I backed Berkey for a number of years. Remco, don't take any shit.
I won't.
That's all I got for now.
I won't.
Really digging the podcast. I got to ask for the PokerGo subscription for Christmas. Something. I know I'm being a cheap ass. Cheers, guys. Tom from New Jersey. Guess what, Tom? You're going to get a prescription.
Yeah.
A subscription for Christmas. Slide into my DMs. They are open. If you're watching this, you're listening to this, hit me, hit Remco up. We are going to give you an annual subscription for Christmas. You got it.
For Christmas, we are prescribing you poker.
There's your prescription.
That's our prescription.
Okay, Remco, do the next one. It's long.
Next one is from Kate Farland. She sent in a video.
Oh.
Pay attention. I've seen you.
Pay attention to the cards because they will come out.
What kind of cards are
Will you marry me, my queen?
Boom.
What? Did you mean that?
I mean,
Oh my god, yes, of
I love
course.
you. You're my partner.
Aww. I heard a yes. All marbles are binding.
That was just absolutely spectacular. Love the video. I'm just going to quickly run through her email. She said she loves the show. She says that on our last show, we wanted to hear from the players. And yes, we still do. Podcast at Poker Central. Please hit us up. That is the way to get in touch with us. And then now I'm going to get to the meat of this because this is truly spectacular. Kate said, "I thought you may enjoy what happened at my regular home game. I met my boyfriend 4 years ago at a poker table in Atlantic City. We both were pretty much not looking for love, but happened to play a few hands together, and our love grew from there." Can you believe that? It's
They chopped the pot?
absolutely amazing. I mean, they're all in now.
Yeah.
As you can see in the video, her now fiance Carlos is a professional gambler and works in technology, and she's an engineer by trade. They both love the game so much they travel for tournaments. She also played the ladies' event. She cashed a few times at the Borgata. So Kate, huge shout out. The next time you're in Vegas, please come see us at the studio. Be in touch. You have our email. So honestly, congratulations to you guys both.
That's really cool.
Please send us the wedding pics because we are going to show those on the podcast.
And the honeymoon pics. I want the honeymoon pics.
Honeymoon pics.
Yeah.
And also, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some sort of poker theme attached to this wedding. I'm going to guess there's going to be poker chips, like cake chips on the wedding cake.
Right.
Because there has to be some way for them to incorporate poker into this.
Perfect.
I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And if it's a Vegas wedding, invite Brent. He's a very good singer at weddings.
I would love to be there. I could sing. I could sing for the whole thing. I could DJ actually.
DJ Brent?
Yeah, I'm a special.
What's your DJ name?
DJ Drizzle.
DJ Drizzle?
Yeah.
Yeah, spinning some wheels. And then Brent, last but not least, Jeff also reached out.
Okay, Jeff Kupferberg. I'm sure I said that right.
No, you didn't, probably.
Nope. Hey, Remco and Brent, longtime listener and self-professed poker fanatic. I've been a recreational player for nearly 15 years. One thing I've noticed sitting around the poker table for many hours in home games, casinos, Vegas, etc., the people always show their true selves. It's human nature, and that is one of the great parts of the game, and of course the worst as well. That's a good point.
Yep.
I love it when you can just sit at a poker table anywhere, make an instant friend. Sometimes it's not a friend you encounter, but a person whom you can agree or disagree with, whether it's trivial, sports, heavy politics, so be it. Of course, there are times where it's just a total asshole, and that really isn't fun at all. That's a great point. That actually is spot on.
It is.
Again, it's all part of the game. It's sort of the trials and tribulations of poker. Jeff, this is amazing. In light of all the controversies in the poker community, I'm never surprised when people cheat, don't pay back debts, they treat dealers and players poorly, they're bad tippers, nor am I surprised when the poker community praises all the good stuff, sportsmanship, the charity work, they express wrongdoing, and he's just happy to be a part of the poker community. Jeff, we're happy you are a part of the poker community. Thank you so much for sharing this wonderful email with us and for being a longtime podcast listener and PokerGo supporter. Remco, love that.
This is honestly amazing. We want this every week on the show. So if you are watching or listening, because obviously this is available on PokerGo if you're watching us right now, but if you're listening to us, know this is also a video podcast. I know we've been slacking off because Brent was doing some commentary for World Series Poker Europe, but in general, this is going to be a show every single week, and we will have your clips, your questions, and your remarks on this show. So if you have a strategy question, or if you have any sort of questions about the industry as a whole, if you want us to get someone on the phone to explain something to you, Brent can probably make that happen.
Yes.
And please don't forget to leave us those reviews on whatever platform you're using to listen to us. And obviously, if you are a PokerGo viewer, thank you so much for that as well. One final thing for the people that are listening, if you're not yet a subscriber, and I'm also speaking to you here, Tom from New Jersey, you might as well be a cheap ass. I don't really care, but you can take an extra $10 off. Use the promo code podcast, signing up for the annual subscription. And I promise you, we will deliver on all the hot poker action. We have Poker Masters right now. We have the Party Poker events in Bahamas coming up. We have high stakes cash games coming up in December.
Yes, we do. Holidays with Helmuth coming up in December as well.
He better dress up as Santa.
Oh, man, they're all going to dress up.
I love it.
Yeah.
And a lot of exciting content in the new year as well. So for now, this is a wrap on the podcast. You guys, thanks so much for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next week.